where we stopped last time. So we were talking about these basics, fundamental things in animal production. We were talking about the terms, what we use. So let me know whether it's audible or not. Whether you can hear me or not. Can you
hear me, ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, do you have any questions regarding the previous lectures? There are 109 students. I don't know what happened to the others. Anyway, I'll start the lectures. So I stopped. Just once tell me where I stopped. So here I think I stopped. So this we studied. So these things I did. Maybe from this one I have to. This also. So which slides? 20th or 21st slide?
21st slide.
Yes, I have to start from 21st slide. Okay. So here so when we were talking about these terms, estrus. Estrus, just I told, every 21 days, these animals are having a heat cycle or estrus cycle, we call them. So heat cycle is like every 21 days of the cycle period, every 21 days period. So these animals will show a heat period, estrus period, the first one, estrus period. So during that period, 21 days, not all 21 days, a particular period of time, 2 days. So there are phases, 4 phases are coming. So again, the 21 days is dividing into 4 different phases: estrus, mesestrus, proestrus, and estrus, something like 4 periods. So during this period, particular period, estrus period, again an estrus period, the 2 to 3 days. During that period only, the female animal. So this is shown by female animal. Estrus period is shown by female animal. So during that period, she's ready to accept a service by a male or even the artificial insemination. So that time only we can serve this animal for their production. So if you want to get a calf, so during that period only we can allow a natural mating or artificial mating during that period. So that period we call this estrus. So estrus cycle is period between one heat to the other heat. So when a cow is in heat means that she is in a heat, that period we can breed the animal. Other times she don't accept. Okay? There are so many signs shown by these animals, female animal, they show signs. So during that period only we can mate. So that's how we identify the farmer, the handler, caretaker, where he knows the signs. When the animal is in heat, he knows the signs, and particularly that day they can inseminate the animal. So we'll study these things later. Even the first year we will study. So what happens is just what are the signs, how many phases, 4 phases, which phase, what happens, what are the signs. Each and every phase is important for a breeder, for an animal caretaker. Then only we can successfully make this animal for another production. So I told getting a calf per year. Getting 1 calf per year is our objective. Because that's, if we miss one heat, so then we have to wait next 21 days for the other heat. So the 21 days, like it's when we miss it, we don't get that, we don't achieve the objective. So this is very important for animal production, estrus and estrus cycle. So this is like a cycle, every 21 days it's come. Anestrus, the period called anestrus. In this period, the animal is not cycling. not cycling, non-cycling animal. So they could be seasonal breeders. So could be a nutritional problem. So nutritional problem usually when animal is not getting enough nutrition, when they are having a poor nutrition, they don't cycle. So we cannot breed those animals. So those animals are not used for breeding. Seasonal breeders are there like sheep. They are seasonal in a particular period of their year, particular period of the year. Only they are showing the heat signs. Estrous cycle. Other times they are not showing the signs. So other times cannot be bred. So during that period only we can breed. So that kind of animal we call seasonal breeders. Sheep, for example, sheep. So nutritional problem can affect even a goat or cattle or whatever, any kind of animal. When they are under nutrition, when you're not feeding, when they are not getting enough feed and they are very weak and so on, they're not cycling. So that time we call estrus, that those animals we cannot use for breeding. Seasonal breeders only breed certain time of the year. So that's I told. AI, we usually call these terms, these are very important. AI means artificial insemination. So here we are doing artificially, naturally can happen the mating, breeding. So this happens when collecting the semen from a male animal and mechanically using some equipment, depositing it in the female tract, what the human is doing. So that is artificial insemination. Then the rectal palpation is to check whether the animal is pregnant or not pregnant. So rectally. So we cannot insert our hands to their reproductive tract of female animal because that should be very sterile. And if you insert the if pregnant animal, we get aborted and contaminated. So we have to insert our hand through this rectum. And we can palpate these ovaries, uterus, and whether we can tell whether animal is pregnant or not pregnant, cycling or not cycling, because those are very, very important. If they are not cycling, we have to give some hormonal treatment. So that's why this is very important. So this cannot be done by anybody. So this can be done only the veterinarians can perform rectal palpation. So if we have a farm, if we have some problem in our farm, the animal is not showing heat or is showing heat but not getting pregnant, something, so many problems will come. That time we have to palpate their uterus and ovaries. So that we use the rectum. Okay. Then the artificial vagina, it's used to collect the semen. So this is a tool used to collect the semen. It's imitates the natural one. So the male will eject the semen. So this is artificial vagina. So this is for the collection of semen. Service. Service means act of breeding. Act of breeding. So we used to say breeding. We used to say service. So those are same. Breeding. Artificial. Natural means you allow the male bull to mate with a female. And artificially means you are doing the artificial insemination. So those comes under. So do we have any problem? Because these are very important when you want to continue throughout the studies in animal science. Anything? So I'll move to the next slide. Puberty. So one is missing. A puberty means age at first ovulation that you know. Puberty means that around, if it is a cattle, a cow, heifer, we call heifer before they get 18 months of age. No, usually 18 months old, she attained puberty. So puberty means first ovulation. Action of viable semen, female, first ovulation. The time is slightly different. Okay, these things you will study maybe in your practical class, I don't know. But you remember what is a puberty. So other terms. So culling the animal means removing the animal from the herd. There may be a lot of reasons. So if you're having a farm management is very, very important. If you are not managing the farm operation will be a failure. So usually farm operation is successfully. So usually a farm need a successful management. So the management includes so everything like from starting from birth. Okay, start from birth. Correct time you have to wean the animal. So I told you what is weaning. You have to remove from the mother and you stop or reduce drinking milk from mother and you introduce other food likewise until puberty and then first calf like keep on so every year per calf so I'm talking in terms of cattle so if it is a goat or whatever it depends so once the animal is pregnant so when she is before delivery 2 months we call dry period we have to stop getting milk from that animal. So another animal should be available during that period to give the milk. So then only the consumer will get the continuous milk supply. So you can get the milk continuously. Otherwise, how? So better management and a proper management is very important. So that includes culling the animals time to time you remove because only 6 or 7 cattle gives a birth 7 cattle per cow 7 calf per cow per in their lifetime. So the lifespan of a cattle is usually 13 years, 14 years only they can live. So during that period, if it is a female cow, she can give 6 to 7 calf for their life. So we have to make a correct decision when after 6th or 7th birth, parity, we call them parity, we have to remove from her herd. And also if there is any non-productive, non-acting, non-cycling, then we have to treat them. Even though after treatment also if they are not productive, then you have to remove. Remove in the sense you are not killing, just you remove from the herd, you can sell it. Some other farmers make it. However, you are removing from the herd. So that is culling. Cull means removing from the herd. Any reason. Herd, a group of cattle. Herd means a group of cattle. Flock, group of sheep. Dam, we call mother. We don't say mother in animals, so we used to say dam. Sire is a father, sire. Okay, so these are very important. Brother or sister, sibling, brother or sister. We remove from mother, stop nursing. Okay. So the other terms. Stock a calf, placing on grass after weaning and grazing for several months. So this is after you stop feeding and nursing, placing the calf in a grass pasture, and you allow them to graze after weaning. Feed a calf, place into a feedlot in a beef animal. For cattle, fat cattle, finished cattle for processing. Fat cattle means you used for this beef production. Range, native or improved forage. Okay, so forage, we have so many forage. So the animal you have seen keep on eating whatever they available. But the improved one will improve the production. So these varieties from the researchers from other countries we are importing. So we had our native, but now we don't have. We have imported these brachyrias, CO3, CO4 from other countries, and now the farmers are growing. The grass should be suitable to our climate also. That kind of grass we have to get it. We cannot get the grass from Europe. It's difficult to grow because of the climate. So some grasses from Europe also can be. Brachyria is from Europe, so that we can because it's okay for the. It's okay, they can be cultivated in our land. So you have to think about the suitable pasture which has to grow in our country, an improved one, a good one. So then that improves the production. The production could be milk production, meat production, and so on. Okay. Pasture means improved forage. Okay. So range means a native or unimproved. So that means not improved one. The pasture means improved one. Okay, so we have to import the improved one for the forage production. Okay, the native one which is available in our country, we call the range. So it's which is in our country. Pasture means we import from other country for the production. The roughages feeds of high in fiber. Roughages means feeds of high in fiber because the cattle can consume more grasses, roughages. So we can give for them, so roughages and concentrate, two kind of food we can give to the animal. So in ruminants, we can give more roughages. 80% of their diet, we can give more roughages. 20% concentrate we can. We cannot, we can give more concentrate, but that end up with so many problems, health problems. Okay. So we don't expect usually the people think when giving more concentrate will improve the production. Not that case. We have to give green, fresh pasture grasses to the animal, especially to the cattle, to get a good milk production. Milk production in the sense both fat percentage, SNF, solid non-fat, and the amount of milk. But if you give more concentrate, you get liters and liters of milk, but watery milk. So that's not preferred by consumer, and you don't get enough paid. So these days, the milk is paid according to their fat percent in the milk and the solid non-fat SNF, both calculating both and getting the price. So what is the milk, 1 liter milk price these days? Can anybody tell me? What's the price of a milk, 1 liter of milk? If you don't know, 100.
Yes, ma'am.
We call these kind of informal. When you're getting from a man, a milk person to your home, it's around 100 rupees. That we call informal milking. So, but they are paying usually when you're giving to authorized one like Milko, Nestle, the other one, those companies, private companies, if you are giving, so they are paying according to the fat percent and the solid non-fat percent. It's around 75-80 rupees they are paying. So it depends. If it is more fat, you get more price, more milk price. If it is low fat, then you don't get enough price. So that's not the amount of milk. You have to multiply, but based on this SNF and fat percentage, they have a chart. So this my 4% of fat and what kind of solid and fat, 1 liter of milk, how much? Then if you give 5 liters of milk, they will get multiplied and give you the money. So that kind of thing, formal marketing, we use the milk. So when a farmer is there, so that is the formal thing, formal, proper way. Like when a farm is there, so farmer is getting the milk and he, it's not a must, like this is a way. He has to sell to these kind of organizations, not to the middleman. So from that organization, they have to distribute to the people like us, the consumer. But that's not happening. So we usually get from our close by farms. The farmers are giving. Sometimes a middleman in the person, he get the milk from the farmer and he is distributing. So that is little higher. So it's around 100. But these days, the Nestle is paying around 80-75 rupees only. They are paying for 1 liters of milk based on this fat and SNF. Okay, so hay. Okay, hay means cut and dried forage. Hay. So we used to say hay means cut. Okay, the cut but dried forages. Silage means cut but stored as wet. This is as dry hay. Silage stored as wet and fermented. Okay, so these kind of things these kind of product, the pasture varieties and the preservation you study in second year, but time for being, you remember what is a hay. It's a dried forage cut after you remove it You cut it, the grasses, you dried it. Okay, we call hay. Not the straw. Okay, straw is different. Straw is after you harvest the paddy, you get the straw. Okay, but hay is different. You grow the plant, the grasses, you cut a particular period, not before flowering, about to flower, something like that. So you study these things in second year. You cut the grass, you dried it, make a bale or bundles like thing. You preserve that you can feed to the animal. Silage is also same. You cut it, but stored in a wet form. So mostly the animal, the cow, they like this silage. So these two improves the production, especially the silage will improve the milk production, the good milk. Stored in wet form, it's a fermented product. Stocking rate, animals, how many animals you store in a particular area, it's a stocking rate. So these things are very important because you cannot overstock, you cannot keep more animal in a particular unit area. You cannot, under also you cannot do, because when you are going thinking about the production, space is also important. So this is important stocking rate. Grazing pressure, and also stocking rate is important when you are allowing these animals for grazing. When the animals you send for grazing to the pasture land, you cannot just send them. You have to calculate the area and how many animals you are going to send for grazing. So stocking rate means both. Okay. Grazing pressure means closeness of forage is grazed. Okay, that means sometimes animal. So they graze from the bottom of the grass. So that is like the recovery of pasture is difficult when they graze very close to the ground level. So that depends. So if there is more animal, so they usually graze close to the ground level. If they are not, usually they are not grazing close to the ground, not just a middle way, they graze. So that is okay for recovering, pasture recovery. Okay, so the grazing pressure means the closeness the forage is grazed. If it is a grass, how these animals are grazing, whether to the bottom or middle of the plant or top of the plant. So that's the ruminant. Ruminant is compartmentalization stomach. So this is ruminant animals. So I told the animals can be classified ruminants and monogastrics. So based on their stomach. So because the type of food they are eating, the type of feed. So the cattle, buffalo, the goats, they are eating grasses. Okay. So they are eating the grasses, but you are getting a good quality milk. So the milk is a good quality, a very good food. And the meat, beef or mutton or lamb, meat, whatever. So you are getting a good, with the high, rich protein source. But they are eating on these local grasses, very nutritionally poor grasses. No, when you take grasses, they are nutritionally poor when you compare with other food available. But you are getting a good product. Why? How it happens? Because of their stomach. Okay, because of their stomach. It's a compartment. 4 compartments are there in the ruminants. We call complex stomach. Ruminants, complex stomach. 4 parts. So I'll come to that later, no need to worry. So next slide would be that one. They have this rumen, reticulum, omasum and abomasum. So these 4 different types of stomach will able to utilize these grasses and give you high product. The milk is rich of amino acids, fatty acids. The meat of beef, mutton, it's a rich source of proteins and fat. So how does this happen? Because of the stomach. So we will study those things later, but just remember. But in case of poultry, swine, their stomach, they have the simple stomach. So we call them monogastric. Mono means one. So monogastric animal. So we cannot feed them like these grasses, but we can feed them concentrates, very limited, less than 20% of their diet. Other one, we have to give a balanced diet for them. So we have to feed them something different, but not like ruminant animal. rumination, regurgitation, or rechewing. So when they are in a pasture, they will keep on grazing. Okay, they will keep on grazing. They just start and eat whatever. But later they lie down somewhere near to a shadow, close to a shadow, and eating again. Okay, that we call rumination, regurgitation. Okay, so I'll come to that things later. Eructation, belching is removing the gas. So because of this complex stomach, compartment stomach, they release so many gases. Okay, so they release gases, the methane, carbon dioxide, enormously more. So that's we call eructation through their mouth. So these things you don't need to worry. A ruminant animal, a complex stomach, different stomach, compartment stomach. So the process of what is happening in the stomach we call regurgitation, rechewing. I mean after they take back again to the mouth and chew back and send it back. So that we call rechewing, regurgitation, both we call rumination. Eructation means belching, removing the gas from the mouth to the environment, especially the gases methane and carbon dioxide to the environment. So these gases are byproduct from this digestion process in the complex stomach. Okay, fill amount of digestive tract content. So fill means the amount of digestive tract content, whether it's digested or not digested, we call the fill. Shrink means loss of weight associated with transportation activity prior to processing. Fill of tissue. That is like some animals when when you are taking the slaughtering for meat production. So you usually doing slaughter somewhere else, usually away from the city, crowdy area, usually the farms and the slaughterhouses, abattoir we call abattoir, where the animals are killed for meat production. So after you kill, you have to transport to the where the shops or where the consumer. So that time there may be a loss of weight. We call them shrink. So the monogastric animal, they have this simple stomach. They have only one compartment. Okay. Post-gastric fermentation means after the fermentation in the cecum and large intestine. So like fermentation takes place in the ruminants in the forestomach, rumen, reticulum, or meso. But there could be a fermentation in the large intestine as well. Okay, in cecum, large intestine, there may be a fermentation. There are some beneficial microorganisms, bacteria, protozoas, some fungi are there. The fermentation has to take place also. Especially this poultry, swine, the fermentation takes place in the large intestine. That's why I told you they can add little bit of roughages, around 20% they can tolerate, because there is a slight fermentation takes place in the large intestine and the cecum. Even the rabbit, swine, poultry, they we call monogastric animal, they can digest these roughages to a certain percent, maybe 20%, but that's in the cecum, large intestine. But ruminants, it's in the stomach. So it is very big compartment, so in the stomach. So these things we will study later. So any things you don't understand, because I'm going to stop this one. I'll start another section. So just let me know if you have any problem. I'll wait 1 or 2 minutes. You have to answer if it is yes or no. If you don't answer me, that one thing you are not in the lecture. So yeah, the way you are not some problem. So just let me know.
No, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Some ask about this estrus and estrus cycle. Okay, having problem in that one. Estrus and estrus cycle. So whether any kind of animal, whether cattle or monogastric or ruminants, any kind of animal. So the time period. So for the ruminants, it's 21 days. Okay. The and so on, sometimes 18 cycling days different, but this is happening. It's a cycle. So for example, I take 21 days. So 21 days, of every 21 days, they are showing a cycle. The cycle includes 4 different phases. Okay, pro-estrus, estrus, metaestrus, diestrus. Okay, 4 different phases. So those phases I'll come to that later, but you remember 4 different phases. So this period, the cycling period, we call estrus period. During that period only, the animal, the female animal, so this is shown by a female animal, she is available to receive a male. That's okay. So that time we call animal is in heat. During the cycle, she is in a estrus period. Within a 21 day, maybe 2 days, she is in heat. She is in estrus. That means that 2 days only she will accept a male. Whether you do naturally or artificial insemination, only that period only she will accept those. Other days in a cycle she don't accept. But this cycle, it's like a cycle coming like a cycle during their reproductive life. So every time, 21 days, it's there. But 2 days only she can accept. Very particularly, they show the signs. So the caretaker, the candler knows. The male animal also know that one. So that because during that period, the animal mate, or we can do the artificial insemination to get this animal pregnant. Okay. Some questions are there for me from the chat, okay? So I will read that one and answer one by one, okay? So some are questioning, so I have to answer because this is your first class. So one question is, estrus cycle is same meaning estrus period. Yes, it's same. Estrus cycle, it's like a cycle. Every 21 days, it's coming like a cycle. So that cycle comprises four periods. 4 periods. The first period is pro-estrus, before estrus. And the next period is estrus. The other period is metaestrus. The other one is diestrus. 4 periods. During these 4, every phases have particular period time. Pro-estrus 1 or 2 days. Estrus 2 days. Diestrus, 10 days or something like that. So the other one, remaining one is the diestrus. So the time period you don't need to worry, but each one will have particular period of time. Each period animal will show the signs. When she is in diestrus, she will not accept AI or she will not accept a male animal. But during the period estrus, when she is in heat, we call heat, she will accept. That time, if you see the vulva, a discharge coming from the vulva, and it's a clear fluid hanging like a rope from their vulva. So that is a good sign that animal is in heat. During that period, we can mate the animal. Pro-estrus means before that period, she is showing a discharge that not clear discharge. So diestrus also there will be a discharge like bloody little blood discharge. So we have to separate this one by their signs. Okay. So that is different. So estrus period cycle means it's like a cycle. So estrus period means it's like 4 phases. In the 4 phases, they show different signs. One period we call estrus. That period, she's in heat means that period only she will accept a male for the production, okay, to get the pregnant and to give a calf. So that question could be okay. Okay? Reply. Yes. Previous slide. Somebody messaged me. Can you show the previous slide? I don't know which slide, but I will give these terms, okay, to you. I'll share this slide. Okay, because the first few days, so it's difficult to use, so I'll share the slide. So that question is also okay. What is the next question? Rectal palpation. Somebody asked rectal palpation. Yes. Female animal, this reproductive opening and this digestive opening open separately to exterior outside. So rectal palpation, rectum, through the rectum, so this the fecal material comes out. The other one is the vulva, where this animal, the birth takes place, as well as the female male animal service takes place. So these two openings are there. But the reproductive, when the animal is whether pregnant or not pregnant, we have to check. But we cannot take this animal always for this scanning. It's not possible, no, for the animal in the field now they are doing, but we don't have this portable scan and so on. So it's not possible to take this animal to scan every time, and it's very costly. It's not available. So for that, what we do, it's the technique where the uh, people, the hand veterinarian use to palpate per-rectally through the rectum, not through the vulva or vagina. Because when you insert your hand to this reproductive tract, you damage everything. Because it should be sterile. When we insert our hand, it contaminates their tract, and the whole systems get affected. And if it is animals get abortion, so many things will there. So we cannot insert to their reproductive tract to our hand. So what we do, it's just above the rectum is just above. So insert your hand because fecal material is there. So we have to remove the fecal material from the rectum, and you have to insert your hand. You can palpate just underneath the tract, reproductive tract. You can palpate the uterus, you can palpate the uterine horn, you can palpate the ovary. So these things we will study, but just remember, so you have to palpate per rectally through the rectum, not straight away to this reproductive tract, because it's damaged the tract. So many things are there. Okay. So that question is also okay. Okay? Get clear?
Yes, madam.
Sperm serum are same meaning. No. Sperm serum are different. Okay? Sperms mean they ejaculates from the male animal. Okay? Spermatozoa, sperms, the male animal for the reproduction to fertilize the female, ejaculate from the reproductive tract, we call sperm. Serum is what, the blood, when you remove these red blood cells and blood protein, you will get a fluid like clear fluid. So that is serum. Okay. So that is freedom. Serum, sperm. So somebody asked, will estrus continuous during gestation period? No, because when the animal is get pregnant, so there are 21 day cycle. So if it is an animal, cycling animal, during the estrus period, successfully you inseminate, whether naturally or artificially. If she get pregnant, she don't cycle because she is pregnant. After delivery, start cycling again. So until gestation period, pregnancy period, she don't cycle because she don't show signs. The heat signs cannot be met. You can't breed the animal. You can't service the animal. You can't do AI. You can't do natural. So that period she is not cycling. Is that okay?
Okay, madam.
Somebody asked about this wheel. Yes. Wheel from a young cattle, dairy cattle. Okay. So this is the slide. Young cattle, young calf, dairy one we call the wheel. Wheel calf. So this bunk or troughs means like you may have seen in a herd. Okay, somebody asked this bunk or trough to define. So when you are confined feeding means you are keeping animal in a place and you are feeding. You are not allowing them to go anywhere grazing. So you cut and feed. So in that places, feed trough the bunk means you fixing. You fix these utensils, feeding utensils. It could be drinking, could grasses, cut grasses to particular space that called trunk or bunk or trough, made by a human. Could be fixed one, or sometimes you can fix by can remove permanently fixing. So in our farm we have this permanently fixed. You by through this using the concrete cement you can make a water trough where the animals to get the water, and another one you'll get it for the feed. So the feed one is below, the water one is stopper. So I'll show these slides. Okay, one I don't know whether we have. I'll just check and let you know. So this trough means the places we are keep the food and water. Okay, the water must be available for the animal 24 hours. Water. So that should be a permanent fixing place. So these troughs or bunk means the places where you keep the feed and water for the animal. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So this somebody asked about this grazing. So I will do a separate lecture for this intensive grazing, semi-intensive grazing. So I'll do the lecture separately. So that is very important. So grazing animals. So depends. So some people, some farmers, they are sending the animal the grazing because if there's enough grazing land, so they are just send the animal for grazing completely on grazing, free grazing. But some farmers they don't have enough space, so what they do, just they cut somewhere else the grasses which is available where available, they're feeding the animal. So that's a different management system. Sometimes they sending for grazing as well as they are feeding. Both they are doing. So that is different. So that I will come to that later. Okay, these terms like sperm, semen are these. I will come to that when you're. That is the ejaculate from the male animal. Okay, sperm, semen are same. Sperms are the single cells. These one in fertilizing the male, female. So you studied in advanced level. So female ovum, male sperm. Collection of sperms with that accessory fluid secretions. So there's a lot of accessories glands are there, prostate, bulbo, urethra, seminal So the secretions from that with the sperms we call semen. Okay. Any more questions? Do you have any questions? If you have any questions, no. 10. Okay. Do you have an lectures at 9 o'clock? What's the lectures?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the lectures? What lectures? What's the subject?
English, ma'am.
English. Are they taking?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, then I will start freshly. Okay, next week I'll start a new section. So that's about, so I just show you. Okay, you can see the slide. So I'll do this one next class, but just I have few minutes remaining. So this is about the ruminant animal, their digestion. So this is the complex stomach, their parts. So what happens in ruminant animal, because you are getting a good product, but the animal is eating these grasses. So maybe in your first, your what do you call this, or so because they eat these very low quality nutritional subject, nutritional feed, but they are giving a very good quality, high quality milk and meat. So how? It's not magic. So it's because of their system. So these things we will study because non-ruminant animal, the monogastric animal. Monogastric animal. We call monogastric or non-ruminant. So the terms same, but so these very basic things we will study next class. Okay. So if you want, you can read more about this estrus cycle and estrus period. So estrus cycle, every animal should cycle. A reproducing animal must cycle during their reproductive life. So if they want to give a cycle, so it has to be cycle. The cycling has 4 different phases. So these phases, different signs shown with the animal. The particular period only they will be accepting the male. So this is I'm explaining again and again. This is very basic in animal science. Okay, that period only we can mate. So that period, how we are going to identify that period? They see signs. The hand can identify. So different signs show the animals to show whether she is in heat or in estrus period. One sign is vulva. From the vulva, clear, ropey, clear mucus is hanging. The sticky mucus material is coming. So that period we can make the animal to get the calf. So that is so when she is pregnant, she don't cycle. Okay, she don't sign these heat signs also. So after delivery, she must cycle. So that time we have for the next pregnancy. So when continuous pregnancy also. Okay, anyhow, I'll stop now. So if you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, I would stop. Do you have any questions? Shall I stop? No one is answering. Okay, thank you. So we'll meet next Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank